Hi, this is Darlene Griffiths, and this is my case study for EDL 850 School Law, Internet Use Violations, Threats over the World Wide Web. So let's start with Category 1, Problem Identification. What do I know? So let's talk about the characters in this case, starting with Miss Robin Tate. She's a second-year teacher with a master's plus some more graduate schooling. She teaches specialized science courses at the high school. She's focused on a structured classroom and academics. Her coursework is very rigorous, which in turn causes high stress level for students. Parents and students often complain about this, and the principal has discussed how she can improve her teaching techniques, but at this point she has not implemented those suggestions. Next we have Dr. Harvey Smith. He is the principal at Slattery Steno High School. He's been there for 9 years. 2 years ago he was Principal of the Year. He's respected by parents. He only hires the most qualified teachers, and he prides himself on that. He likes his reputation as the principal at the most prestigious school in the state. He has discussed techniques with Miss Tate to help reduce student stress and increase positive interactions, but she has not yet implemented those suggestions. The students at Slattery Steno High School, they are very well-to-do. They're in an affluent area in a city. They wear the latest fashions. They use the newest technology. And parents are often doctors, lawyers, and partners in investment firms. So the situation, when Miss Tate comes back after a long weekend, back to her apartment, she finds an email message that then leads her to a website filled with critical comments about her teaching, about her personal life. It contains some offensive language, and a final comment of who wants Miss Tate to disappear. All of these things make her very uncomfortable and worrisome, and so she calls Dr. Smith, the principal. Dr. Smith goes and views the website and asks Miss Tate who would threaten her. Miss Tate, after thinking a little bit, says, "Oh, it must be William Hall." Well, Miss Tate needs to be careful when she starts pointing fingers, because if those accusations are unwarranted, that can equate to defamation, and she doesn't want to get involved in that. Neither does the school. So what do I need to know regarding the website threat? First off, why weren't the police called? If it was a genuine threat, I would think that the police would want to be involved. Without proof, should the principal question William Hall? Why not get the district technologist involved before accusations are made? Before I start questioning students and so forth, I want to have some proof. What state laws would apply to this situation? What school board policies address the situation? I would need to get to the bottom of who posted these threats, and was the email meant to inform Miss Tate of what kids were saying, or was it truly intended to be a threat to her? So what else do I need to know regarding Miss Tate's issues in the classroom? First off, why hasn't she implemented the strategies that Dr. Smith provided for her? Does she want to improve? And how can Miss Tate address student and parent concerns regarding her classes? So the two problems I see are the threatening message directed toward Miss Tate and Miss Tate's pedagogy. So the plan of action, let's start with the threat to Miss Tate. So I would want to look at the printed copies of the message and the website for clues as to who might have posted the threat. Ask the district tech person to track down the email account and or the website, find out who the owner of those things are. Interview Miss Tate to see which, if any, students have made threats before. Look through discipline records in the school to see if this is something that has occurred before with another teacher, and try to see if there was a similar situation. I would want to have the counselor and the tech director work together to review acceptable use and harassment policies with students, talk to the students about expressing their discontent through appropriate channels, send out a letter to the parents of Miss Tate's students reminding them of the school's acceptable use policy, harassment policies, and bullying policies. Ask them to talk to their teen about expressing their frustrations appropriately without threats and defamation of character to Miss Tate. So they need to go through the right channels, and they need to learn how to attend to those stressful situations. So more of the plan of action for the threat. If the source of the threat can be found, remove the hateful message from the website immediately, ask that person to do that. Ask them to apologize to Ms. Tate, and then ask them to attend a digital ethics course to learn how to behave appropriately online. Second part of the plan of action is to address Ms. Tate's pedagogy. Offer a plan of improvement. What are the classroom expectations that I expect to see in her classroom? Ways to improve relationships with students, suggestions on how to respond to parent concerns, pair her up with a mentor teacher that is good at those things, and then have Ms. Tate document her efforts to follow the plan of improvement. Offer professional development to Ms. Tate to help her develop course outcomes, ways to alleviate stress, and how to deal with parent concerns. I would also want to involve Ms. Tate in a professional learning community with the other science teachers to help her grow as a teacher. So category 3, resolve the issues and promote the success of all students. What is best for students? So through the refresher course in acceptable use, harassment, and bullying, which the counselor and tech director would put together, students can understand appropriate ways to express their frustration. The guilty party would be held accountable for his or her actions, regardless of whether it was a prank or not. Ms. Tate will improve her teaching so students are not so frustrated in her classrooms. It was said in the case that the rigor and how she is so serious, it causes high levels of stress for her students, so how can she change that so that the students are not so stressed and are more engaged in her classes? So category 4, debrief the problem. What was I thinking, feeling, and valuing? Ms. Tate, I totally relate to her. I've been in her shoes. I've been a new teacher. I've felt those pressures, and I've also been on the receiving end of threats, and it's not a good feeling. I can totally relate to her concern. I also understand the frustration level of the students who want to be valedictorian or salutatorian. I was in their shoes as well. I was in a very competitive class. We were all trying to get the best grades in the classes so we could have those distinctions. And so it is very stressful to the students when they are going and competing at such a high level. And then I had a real concern with the fact that Dr. Smith didn't seem to take the threat very seriously, and that frustrated me. So some unresolved issues that I would be open to further investigation. Could Ms. Tate file charges against the guilty party for the threat? Was the guilty person identified and disciplined accordingly, and was there fallout from the parents over the whole situation? How did the parents react to all of this? As far as Ms. Tate and her pedagogy, is she interested in becoming a better teacher? Maybe this is not, education is not her forte. Is she willing to make the necessary changes? Does she want those positive relationships with her students? And maybe Slattery Steno High School is not the best fit for her. Maybe she needs to teach someplace else. So professional ethics, component 1. How would I, as the education leader, apply knowledge that promotes the success of every student by acting with integrity? First off, I don't want to jump to conclusion, because often that leads to defamation of character, and I don't want to get in trouble for that, nor do I want the school in trouble for that. I would seek the proof needed to catch whoever put the threat out there, the perpetrator. I would offer due process to that person once they are caught. Was the student trying to warn Ms. Tate, or was it truly meant to be malicious? What was their intent? Component 2. How do I promote the success of every student by acting with fairness? So I want to give Ms. Tate an opportunity to improve her teaching through the plan of improvement, because I know better instruction equals better student engagement and student learning. I do not want to terminate Ms. Tate's employment based on the complaints of students and parents. That is just not fair to her. Component 3. How would I promote the success of every student by acting in an ethical manner? Regarding the threat, I definitely want proof before I go around accusing someone of wrongdoing. By having the kids do a refresher course on acceptable use, bullying, and harassment, I'm emphasizing the importance of digital citizenship and showing them how to act in an ethical manner. So here is how we're going to do this. I would be expected to do it the same way. And thirdly, I would not determine a teacher's employment based on the hearsay of others. Thank you for watching, and I wish you luck here at the end of the semester.